Hello and a warm welcome back to the WenDirkCast. As always, we'll be discussing Let's MFL updates, transfers, developments, and so much more that has gone on over the last week or so. One important note before we kick off this episode: none of what we chat about is financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of Metaverse Football. In the studio with me today is a person that I'm very, very excited to talk to. He's quite possibly one of the most passionate MFL managers, creators out there, and he's also 1/3 of Yorkshire Tea XP. We've had Big Mr. K on. We've not got Bruce on yet, but if you hadn't guessed what it is, Mr. RootCoors. Welcome in, sir. How are you doing?
All right, Jimbo. Well, good, mate. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I know I kind of was like hoping I'd get on at some point, and it was good of you to reach out. So I think I remember like when I'd first started getting into MFL, I think I was already teasing about coming on WenDirk, and you guys were like, yeah, whenever suits. And I was like, yeah, I've only been playing the game for 3 days. I'll relax a little bit. And like time's obviously ticked on from that. Yeah, but all good. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
No, awesome.
And I'm not going to mention the football yesterday. So.
No,
I just did.
I know. I've actually, I've kind of, when we talk a bit about the IRFL later, I've kind of got a couple of segues that transition to MFL off the back of it. So I'm going to kind of, hopefully squeeze them in there. I like to think of, you three lads are sort of like, start Pokemon. We've had big Mr. K, and we've now got you, and we've got to get Bruce. We've got to catch them all. We've got to all bring them on MFL or WenDirk, sorry, at some point. Then maybe once we've had Bruce on as well, and we can bring all three of you on together, have a bit of a laugh like that. So I feel like I've got to do you one by one first, and then we'll get you on as a collective. Because I brought you on with Bruce, then I think big Mr. K might feel a bit left out. So
yeah, I mean. Yeah, you're doing it the right way. And you've got 3 different characters as well, so it's quite nice to see us on our own. And then obviously you tune into the pod anyway, so you can see us together. We are different when we're on our own, as we all are, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool.
So we've got RootCoors with us today for Manager Spotlight. So the second half we're putting the spotlight on him about his MFL career, how he got into the game, how he plays. Bit about Yorkshire Tea XP as well, and then answering our questions from our previous guests, along with just sort of, him giving his takes on current hot topics in MFL and our weekly updates and so on and so forth. So I guess before we jump into weekly updates, we had the pack drop stream on Wednesday, which went really, really great. Yourself, Root, did you take part in any pack purchasing on Wednesday?
I actually didn't for the first time. So I think since starting it, I have done. But I'm quite set now on what I'm doing. So if I got packs as much as, and I think it's because I'm a little bit of unsurety, which I'm sure we'll dive in as we go on about what next season holds for where my clubs will be. And, I probably need to start thinking about rare players, I guess. So I didn't want to start doing that early. Obviously, I've got my first one now, which is cool. But yeah, it was the first time I didn't dive into it. I know the numbers were low as well, but that didn't put me off. It was more the fact that I would have had to loan them out for definite. And then I don't know if I'd even need them.
Yeah,
and I've already done a big overhaul of my gallery at the start of this season. So, but I was in the stream and stuff. It was good.
Yeah.
I love doing all those live streams when you guys do them.
I appreciate that. They're a lot of fun. They're probably some of my highlights of just like my whole time just doing content, even just WenDirk, just those streams. They're just so much fun.
Yeah, and they go off on a tangent all the time, don't they? And it's just so much banter. You got the same characters in there, and plays on words and all that kind of stuff. I love it.
And there's opportunities to win things as well, whether it be supported by MFL or things that we're putting up. Obviously, we had the kit maker battle, which UK was it second? It was second UK, but it was second, wasn't it?
Second, yeah. We're not talking about that.
No, but
it was a crime.
But you won the rare play though, which which when you shared on socials afterwards was the first rare played agency. So that's quite a big thing. I bet you were pretty stoked with coming as a final.
Buzzing. Yeah, it was good to be in the final. I mean, it just went right down to the wire. I think it was 1 or 2 votes in at the end.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it obviously I came second, which is fine. But I had a lot of people backing me in the chat, so I was kind of like, I think as we were all building up, we were like, oh, it's going to be a landslide. And I don't think I went into it thinking that in the final, but I was like, oh, that's close. And then it just started to switch. But I know it was a rare player either way. So and both kits in the final were nice, to be fair. But yeah, my first rare player, and it was a good player as well. So I've lent him to Mr. K for the rest of the season, which everybody's like, what a bad idea that was. But I know he'll look after him because he's mine. So just because I'll probably need him next year, I'm hoping. So
yeah. So congrats on that. I honestly can't off the top of my head remember who the winner is. Winner who won the kit maker, but I think he did reach out and said thank you. I told him to thank Bastis as well because he was Bastis's player. So we thank you, Bastis. I know you're listening. Thank you for your your generosity in donating those players. You got one of the
Yeah, I dropped
recipients
him a
right
DM
here.
to thank him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had that. I think you said earlier it was one of the first times you've not purchased packs. I don't think you're the only person who did that. I know a number of people, and I've seen in different communities, etc. A few people say that was the first time I'd not bought packs for a while. I think some people were just sort of like sitting on their players, maybe just using the MFL to buy reward packs, or simply don't want to spend money and have the risk essentially go target players in the marketplace rather than that gamble of a pack, for example. But the value, the quantities were low, so even if you did want to go for a rare, there was a slim chance. But all the people that come on the show, there's on the stream afterwards, seemingly always get rare, standard, limited. I'm like, how do you guys? I know how they do it, but I'm like, how every time do you manage to do it? That's the bit that blows my mind.
I think that's right. And I think as well with the packs, it's again, I suppose when you first get into MFL and you're building up, it's really exciting to rip packs, right? And it's still exciting now. But I think because of where the marketplace is at the moment, it makes it a little bit more difficult to justify the cost to get a pack to rip it. Whereas obviously a couple of seasons ago and last season it was a little bit easier because you're probably going to get there's a good chance you get a player that might not be quite worth as much as the pack, but it was still fun and he's got progression. You open a pack, it's exciting or whatever. Whereas at the moment, on the market, it's a buyer's market, right? So like you're able to pick up players because people either want to get rid of them and need to get rid of them or whatever it is, but it is a buyer's market. So going for the packs, and I have this conversation with Mr. K quite a lot. It's like, do I invest X dollars in a pack and not know what I'm going to get, or I could maybe get 2 players in the market at the moment, which is a shame, but it's just the way it is at the moment. But there is some pack opening is always fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Even as just like a kickoff where you've got a 10% chance of getting an upgrade. Even if you get an upgrade, it's like that sort of rush. Oh my god, I got an upgrade, and I think there were some pretty poor packs on stream. To be fair,
Like kickoff one's always good, right? Because that is like always going to be half the price of buying the pack on the secondary market, give or take, even probably less than half of buying it on the secondary market. And kickoff packs are the good ones, either for yourself to have a bit of fun with or to give away as well.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that I think a lot of people go into, no matter what level of the game you're at. I mean, you obviously give away kickoff packs and stuff, and we do things like that as well. So, like, because I think we're going to give away some kickoff packs for some people reaching like 100 followers on YouTube and so on. And we said we were going to do something like give them away. Obviously, that's exclusive. That's probably going to be kickoff packs. Anyway, it's kind of like, but we didn't buy them in the pack drop. But we came up with the idea 48 hours later, and I'm like, why didn't we buy them
the pack drop? Yeah, because there used to be times where on the we'd give away like a limited pack, and I knew it was cheaper to. That was when pack resale values were crazy. I was like, I need to get this in the drop, or I'm spending an extra 10 quid buying it at secondary, and I don't want to do that. So I was like, please, for the love of God, Jimbo, please grab yourself a pack, so it's cheaper for you to give away, basically.
Exactly that.
But yeah, obviously the other event we had this week was the Rabid Play, play on words of Rapid Play, or Rapid Fire, I think it was previously called. Mr. Coors, were you successful in acquiring either the unique items, which in my head are the pitch and the kit pattern? Did you manage to get any of those?
No, unfortunately, I didn't. To be fair, no, I know, gutted. Blades did reach out to me though and say like, if you give me your club, I'll put the kit on and give you your club back. I was like, that's a real nice gesture, and I get why you're doing it. I really appreciate it, blessing, which was really nice. But I was like, I'll stick with my kits I've got at the moment, but it might be something I consider for next season. But I think for me, the difficulty was like, I know I focused too much on trying to make my team really aggressive with all my aggressive physical players in, so I could get cards and get yellow cards and red cards and just like go full on that. And by doing that, those players certainly in my club that are physical are not always my best players. And I forgot, even though I probably should be really good at this by now, forgot the fact I still need to win the games to go through. Obviously. So there I am, like literally in the game, like 4 yellow cards, maybe a red card, whatever, like absolutely passionate, but still losing the match because the players I'm playing, I've focused too much on physicality than anything else. I did get close to getting to the semi-final, so I got to the quarters, but lost the game. I think it was 2-1 with one of my clubs, so I was really gutted about that. But it was fun. I liked it.
I think that was the thing. Usually mid-season we get nothing, and I think that's something is better than nothing. And I was a big fan of it when I got a few kits. I know so you only get one. I didn't get the pitch, which I was gutted about. I know I can never remember his name now. FCY or Goga. I think he racked up like 40k MFL on the first day. He was like entering
Whoa.
everything. And I think if you had MFL to enter into the
Yeah.
paid ones, you had quite a decent chance because there were just so fewer players in them. So all you had to do was kind of win 2 games and you were getting your money back. Whereas if you were free rolling,
Yeah.
you had to win like 3-4 games depending on the size of the
Mm-hmm.
tournament to get through, which for some people was quite tough. With a lot of people were saying as well, once you've got the kit, if you knew you weren't going to get to the final, do you tank one of the earlier rounds to get the development passes? Because obviously prizes don't stack. They'd rather
Mm-hmm.
take, they wouldn't, they would rather not have the 50 MFL and kit pattern. They'd rather have a dev center pass for an uncommon player for 4 seasons, which I think is totally understandable.
Yeah.
But seeing how kind of for some people how frequent they were at getting the kit patterns, I kind of wish the kit patterns were then locked to the club, not the agency,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
the Wyverns got like 4 times getting the kits, but my other teams didn't get anywhere near. But now they can don that pattern. Maybe it would have been quite nice if they made that bit a bit more unique. I don't know, but that maybe just depends on.
No, I get you. I think it's that as well about the entry. So I only did the free rolls because I didn't have any MFL. I know I've been playing it a few seasons, but at the end of each season, I've kind of used the MFL either for a pack or two, and then to put people in dev because I still needed to get quite a few people in dev. I think obviously what it will do is at the end of this season, when everybody gets their rewards, I certainly know I will hold it back. I
Yeah.
won't think, oh, shall I get a pack with that MFL or shall I put some extra people in the dev center for the sake of it? Because if I know there's going to be competitions come up the same as this, or well, obviously different for this might be a Christmas one, an Easter one, or whatever is the guys want to do. I want to be involved in the paid ones. That's what I want to do, as in using my MFL. And I think, and that's regardless of the rewards. I just quite like the idea of like you give a bit and you can get some back, and like also the people that are going in there are probably people that are competitive, and I like competition. I know there will be in the free one, but I think in those ones, you're going to have like people that are really competitive because they're putting MFL up, if you like, and hoping they get something back. I thought it was brilliant how they did it, though. I loved the bandings. I was really happy with like 61 to 65 and so on. I think that was really, really good of doing it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I had my little thing about like I had one player at 66. He's not even in the starting 11. I know it was in the rules, but that's the only thing I would want to tweak is like, I know why it's like that because obviously if you register and then I'm registered and then I put that player in the starting lineup, it's so difficult, But there just needs to be a trigger, I guess, where it goes, you lose the game instantly, a bit like a 3-0, which I know is like just something like that. Because I had literally in one of my clubs which had like 65, 65, 65, 64, 63, and that was it. And then one that was 66.
Yeah.
And that was the team I wanted to go in it, and it just wasn't going to happen.
Well,
I know you could take him out and re-register, but then you're using a transfer as well.
That's what I did with the Wyverns because I knew I wasn't going to be bringing anyone. I ended up bringing one upgrade, but what I did was I have most of my team, apart from one player, they're all under 85. Like I got 385s, 84s, 83s, but my right mid and 87. I was like, right, see you later, mate. You're not getting a contract in the club anymore. He's gone. And then I brought him in afterwards, so you get the training in the morning. Then I heard that I signed him up again for training, but also once it was confirmed that the events were happening again the same time the next day, I was like, right, just before then, see you later, mate, you're gone. And then bring it back in again. And I was like, I've only got one space. And I managed to bring in an upgrade for the Wyverns, kind of just like a rotation upgrade. But yeah, if you did bring in if you brought in someone to upgrade your squad and then didn't realize how that the requirements will work, because there were rules and then there was like registration conditions, and I think there were 2 completely separate rules. You can see where it gets confusing now. They're 2 separate rules for registering and for the matches.
Yeah,
and they were different, but they weren't the same. People thought they were the same, and it could have just been maybe slightly explained a bit better. But I think,
I mean, I understood the rules. That was fine. It wasn't the rules part. It was more the fact I didn't like the rules.
Yeah,
like in that sense.
Or some people in the upper bands couldn't take part because there wasn't a tournament for them to fit into. Which it came back to you saying about being competitive, and if you save MFL next season want to take part. People, even if they know they're not going to win, they have the FOMO of not taking part in an event. Don't discount people like, I want more free roll games tournaments so I can just take part, even if they get smashed in them. They just want to be able to enter and have a chance of taking part, which I think is what, for some people, they're just that sort of got removed in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think it was a great
Yeah,
event.
and that's what I had to do with Dockside. So I had to put the one that had the 66 rated in to the competition that was 68 to whatever. But I knew I was going to be one of the trashiest teams in that
Yeah.
competition because so I just lost straight away, basically.
Mm.
So yeah, that's the only thing. But I think they're really clever guys. I'm sure they can put something to say, look, you have your starting 11 and it's locked. As soon as you register, whatever's in your default is locked. I don't know how it would work, but that's the only thing for me. But other than that, I thought it was brilliant. I love the fact they've done that. A quick succession from the other one. The other one was amazing. We were in that as well, obviously the gold rush stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love all these things. I think they're great. I think they're great for when you've got a bit of downtime, transfer window, between seasons, all that kind of stuff. Because again, the people that want to be involved. The people that just want a bit of downtime and just want to chill and whatever in their life, go and do that as well. And I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Because especially like for you as content creator as well, like, it's great to have downtime, but even during the downtime, you're creating content. So having things to create content about, and I know we're content creators as well now. So, but it's that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Then it all adds extra flavour to MFL, and it's not just about those leagues and those cups. It's what can I do? They sort of bring the community together. The Gold Rush one was a great example of that. The Yorkshire Tea and XP Alliance. You didn't have the biggest of numbers, but you had the activity within there, which allowed you to hit all the milestones and therefore get rewards, which some alliances who were 3, 4, 5, 6 times bigger weren't able to get. I think it was all the
yeah,
three
that was
the three
fantastic.
British alliances, or British founded, we'll call it alliances, were the only ones to hit all 6 milestones because of the active communities that yourself, us at WenDirk, and the Ramble have. So anything like this. So hopefully they may do like a sort of Christmas thing. I know parts of the Christmas advent calendars. I hope they bring something like that back. We're all addicted in the morning to waking up and seeing training. If now we can open an advent calendar as well, tell you, Mrs. I don't need to get an advent calendar for me this year. MFL has sorted me out.
Thing is, you can see where all these things are going. Like you just said there, like with the pitches. I mean, I love my YTXP pitch. It's great, but like even with the kits now, I'm like, quite easily there's going to be a point where I can pay like 500 MFL or whatever, and you're going to let me upload my logo, and I'm going to, as long as it's not copyrighted, so my kits can have like YTXP logo on it. I'm all over that. I know it will come at some point.
Like a sponsor
whatever,
aside, anything like that to give extra flavor. I would love.
Yeah.
I would happily, if I had to pay 500 MFL, 1,000 MFL, even if that to pop the WenDirk logo on, I'd be like, give me all over it.
But again, I'd have the WenDirk logo. I'd have probably one at home and one for away. You see, so like it's quite, I love that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I know that people have been talking in our Discord about like changes, because obviously we are obviously going to a world where things are going to like cost MFL, aren't they? Like the kits next time and that. And it's trying to figure out a balance, if there's a way where if it's like a minor tweak, does that still cost, or does it cost less, or is it always one flat fee? And you're like, I know that's a very difficult thing to do. In any line of business really, but certainly in that, because like, how do you quantify a cost of a little thing, and if the reprocessing in the background is still the same regardless because it has to regenerate it, well then it's just a flat fee, isn't it? So you got to try and get it right.
Hopefully over the next couple of weeks, you would assume maybe this coming week we actually find confirmation of that, because obviously it'll be rollover day going into season 10, which those changes will come into place, and I'd like to think over the next, say, 7 to 10 days we get confirmation. How would that fee structure work? We assume, I'm making the assumption, I think we all can agree on this, that it's probably going to be dynamic. As you go down the pyramid, you're in Diamond League, it's going to cost more, you're in Flint's going to cost less. That makes sense because of the rewards available for those clubs. But yeah, you're right. Do you have to pay to enter the kit pattern designer, or is it per color or per whatever? Can they go over nuanced as that and make those changes? But I think people are now sort of starting to think, well, actually, I've got this new kit, I like it. Will I rep it for a season? Will I, when am I going to commit to making these changes and having them set in stone, because it will cost from season 10 onwards.
Exactly. And it's little things like that, because I know we always talk about like history of stuff. It's like kit history. Like I kind of think I was quite vocal on the fact like, oh, I'd love to change my kit every season, but I also want a history of my kits. So like in 10 seasons time, I won't be able to look back like what the fans were wearing in my kits. Do you know what I mean? I know, but I love that kind of thing. Those kind of things like tick so many boxes for me, because I'm like, it's all that journeyman type thing, that growth type thing through leagues and all that. And that's why like when you have people that have like get golden boots and stuff, I want it to still make sure it's stamped as like he got the golden boot at my club.
Yeah.
He's not now somewhere else, it's different and all that kind of stuff. Or he got it in my league. And same with kits. Like, imagine looking back, say back in like 10 seasons or 20 seasons, you're like, wow, that was my first kit.
Mm.
And now the creator or whatever else has all come on leaps and bounds. And this is what we're wearing now. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think that those kind of things are cool.
I really like the history of the kit side there you've just mentioned there, and I think whenever you see IRL kits of a team come out for the new season, how many times you look at a kit and go, "That's from the 1980s." We've got inspiration from then,
Yeah.
and it's like I'm gonna in during the Christmas months, I've got a Christmas jumper I've just bought, and it's of inspiration of the sort of 92, 94 kit behind me here, and it's the only excuse I'm going to get to wear yellow and green in the office for Christmas jumper day. I'm never going to get.
I know exactly where you got that from because I've done the same for a whole while.
Yeah, I saw
100%.
it, and then someone tagged me on Twitter, and I'll reply, go, "I've already bought it, lad." Even before you've
I saw that.
But yeah, anything to do with history of kits or any sort of I would. They said because it was a bit too much for them to do, but season 0.1, which, oh my word, I don't know when that would have been now, over 18 months ago, 2 years ago. If you won the title on my Wentz and Wyverns Iron Trophy, it says season 0.1 Wentz and Wyverns like engraved in it. And it's like, you don't have, Blades always gives me, "Oh, when you've won gold." Like, lad, have you got an engraved trophy? I don't know if that's your trophy or not, mate, because that could just be a random picture.
And that's my point. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, I love stuff like that. Engrave it.
Yeah,
Personalize
it, make you feel attached
the trims
to it
down
more.
The side in my colours. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Right, let's move on to moment of the week, or how's our week been, MFL? Mr. Coors, we'll start with you because there's no third person here. We'll start with you, sir. How has your week been in MFL? Just for context to the people listening and watching, it is the Sunday, our usual recording day, 2nd of November. Cup games have just started, so maybe one or two of us can mention about cups. But at the end of how has your week been, I want you to, on a scale of 1 to 10, number it, how good it's been.
Okay.
How's your week been, sir?
Okay, cool. So my week's been, we're obviously going to just exclude the rapid play because we talked about that. But in terms of my week, it's going really well. The clubs are doing really well. So Dockside, Rum Lads, they're the two main clubs. They're doing everything I need them to do. There's been maybe a loss along the way, but overall it's good. But I'm still seeing like really good progression as well. And I've got a couple of guys in my agency that are just kicking on, progressing. They're either sat with me or they're out on loan for a couple of reasons. But it's going really well, and I'm really positive about it because I'm having an amazing season in progression. And I know we're halfway through, and I know things teeter off, but at the minute, I'm still ticking along nicely. And then Dockside are top of the league, so that's obviously going to make me happy.
Yeah.
And they're smashing it. They've scored loads of goals, hardly conceded any.
Saying,
and then Rum Lads, I think we lost yesterday. I think it was. I'd have to double check. I haven't got it open in front of me. Let me just have a quick look. So, but we are still sitting like obviously playoff spots, and that's kind of what I was saying about earlier. So we're in third. So we lost yesterday 2-0, but we've been kind of winning before that. Obviously the 3-roll stuff's in there, but if you take that aside, we're literally on a good run of form, which is really, really helpful. So that's kind of what I was saying earlier about like, I don't know what next year brings because I didn't plan for them to even be that high. They're not predicted to be that high. I've said it on obviously our pod, but I'll say it on here for your listeners and viewers as well. Like, I want the Rum Lads and the Dockside Tigers to switch around because I want the Dockside Tigers to be my main club. But if Rum Lads go up, I'm in a predicament.
Yeah.
So overall, I'm having a really good week after a really good season so far. 4-1-2-1-2 is clicking really well. Everything
finally for you,
really well. Finally for me. Yeah, I can stop blaming the fact it doesn't work and realize the fact I'm getting better at tactics, which I think is a fact, which is good. I'm learning more and more. I think you do over time, and picking people's brains. I'm always happy to learn from people, but yeah. But in terms of this week over the whole season, if you want me to rate it, I'd probably still rate it like maybe like an 8. Still quite high.
Yeah, that's pretty good. No, that's
but
really
not.
Good.
But if you'd have asked me in a few of the other weeks, I'd have been like 10, 10, 10 back-to-back weeks because I've just been flying with those teams. I mean, obviously got the other teams I've got, but I'm not worried about what they're doing. One of them's a trial club, which is obviously the community, and we might keep that. Maybe we'll see, just so we have a community. But we've obviously also got our YTXP club, haven't we? So that's our community club. So like, don't need to have loads. And then my Cowboys, again, it was more I just picked up that license at the start of the season because I wanted it. So this season, I just held some players in my agency to fill it, but I'm not worried as long as they don't get relegated, obviously, but I'm not benchmarking my weeks about their performance. But to be honest, it is that progression. So obviously we play it for a couple of reasons. Don't we? Want our clubs to succeed and do really well, but obviously we want our players to succeed and do exceedingly well. And I think, like, I've had a player, I think it was, I don't know, it might have just ticked over the 7 days now, but yeah, I think it's just ticked over, which is a shame. But if I go back a couple of weeks, yeah, he's got like a +4.
Ooh.
They've got two players that got +4s. One's out on loan and one's in the dev center. But they got those in the space of like 5 days inside a week. And if we were recording this when we first tried to do it a couple of days back, that would have still been in that week
Yeah,
window.
yeah.
They're +4. So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing. Like, yeah, top.
That's solid.
How about you?
8 out of 10.
You were happy?
Yeah, for me, it sort of started off pretty poorly in the sense that I was second in our cup group stage for the Wyverns. I'd just come off the back of beating Big Mr. K 5-2 in a game that, I think I had 6 shots. I think I had something like 5 shots on target and scored all 5. And I was like, okay, not really much I can take away from this game because it's one of those where you just get the first 2 goals go in and you go, well, it's not going to be my day. I ended up getting knocked out of the group stage because I lost my game 2-1 and he drew at 0-0. Therefore, he gained the point to go above me. So I'm kind of glad that one of us got through. But I was kind of glad it wasn't me. I went 1-0 up and then I conceded like a pen and a 90th minute goal. And I just went, this is just so rigged against me here. I was like, I can't get, anything for the life of me. But so then Wyverns didn't get through to the cup knockout stages. My second team, the Worms, didn't get through either, but they're in their first season in Stone. I want to just focus on them staying in Stone, if I'm completely honest. The Trial Club, they are, I don't know what to make of it when you're in Flint and you're with a team full of like 7-8 trial clubs, because I think a lot of people have found that now with some of the trial clubs and people petering out, second half of the season we'll see an increase in like just forfeits happening because some people
Hopefully.
and I've already my first game didn't even happen because it was 3-0, and then I won my next game 5-1. They got through to the round 16. They've just won that 5-0. So and actually earlier in the week we managed to beat a team in the league who has like a bunch of like high 60s in Flint, and we're the only team to beat them. I was like, okay, I'll take some pride in this. But that team might evolve into a WenDirk community team. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'd quite like to get a Dutch one for them because of Dirk class and being Dutch and everything like that.
Yeah.
But and then I think the Wyverns now currently sit, I'm going to have to quickly remind myself, they sit 4th in the league. We're 6 points off Blades in first, but there's 3 points between second and 4th. So if I win a game, I can go second. If I lose a game, I come down to 4th. So I lost the first game. This is what I mean. My first game back, I lost 5-0. I got absolutely destroyed. I went 1-0 up. It got disallowed, and I just conceded 5 in a row. And I was like, okay, do you know what? This wasn't my game. I had a red card as well. I rotated some players. And they're the sort of ones that I just ignore from any sort of tactics point of view, or what did I do wrong here? No, I think I just got hit on the really extreme side of variance, and I need to ignore this because any other day, I think when I played these guys the first game of the season, I beat them 3-0 and I lose 5-0. So I was like, what do I take from that? Not much. And then FC Cincinnati, those who listen to this a lot and know FC Cincinnati in the Bronze League, this guy has like 87s, 89s in bronze. He shouldn't be here. He's second bottom, and I beat him 4-2 yesterday after going 2-0 down. So I'm absolutely over the moon. If I can get someone with 89 rated players relegated from bronze to iron, oh my word, that would be amazing. But not for the people in iron who will have to face them next season.
Yeah.
So I'll probably give myself I'm going to go like a 5. I'm still in it for playoffs in bronze, which is really great. I'd love to try and get second. I hate the third spot. I think it's so frustrating to then go that full distance to get into the division above. But if I can get in that second spot, I've got to hunt down Blades as well. I think, did I beat him since? Yeah, no, it might be on my highlight. I think it was on the Monday. I beat Blades like 2-1 on stream. Yeah. How could I forget that? How could I forget that?
You've got to be a 6 now.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
5.
And he goes, "You were lucky."
6 out of 10 at least.
He kept saying, "Jimbo, you're so lucky." I was like, "Mate, you scored a pen. Your goal was a pen, mate. Like, what? That's the most extreme luck you're going to get." But I beat Blades. And every time he gives me a bit of chirp, now I just reply to him with the result of the game and go, "Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to post that," and delete it quickly, and people see it, which is quite funny.
It's an interesting time in this last week that we just had, obviously, with the transfer window, for like deciding what your priorities are. Because obviously at the start of the season, like a lot of managers, obviously, I want to win it all. Basically, I want to win the league.
Hate losing
to the cup final. Yeah, everybody does, don't they? Right, that's fine. Even though we're there for fun, but we all hate losing. You can say we're there for fun,
100%.
which I am, but I hate losing. But at this time in the season, it's when you almost do have to slightly start to decide. So, like, for my dock side, like I know I went through in the cup, but it's all about the league because even though I'm top, I like don't want that to teeter off. I need to stay there. And whilst my rotation's pretty easy, which we'll talk about later, but I still want to always play my best players where I can, if I can.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, I know we had a game today, which in the cup, which I don't know what the result was yet, but I'm not overly worried. Whereas, like, the Downtown Cowboys, which I said, like, I'm not really bothered what happens with them. I've actually tried to go, like, oh, you got through in the cup. Well, maybe you could win a cup because actually you're not going to go anywhere in the league. So let's just make sure all the best players are always fit for that cup run.
Mm-hmm.
So if they've lost today, then obviously I'll be a bit like, oh,
Yeah.
because I actually decided like they're playing really well in the cup, ironically. But yeah, it's that time in the season where you've got to decide really, because it's not always easy to go for both now for energy and fitness. Because like a couple of my players are starting to sit around that like 94% mark and things like that. So I'm like really needing to make sure that I don't let them drop below 90 anyway. But
Yeah, like me then. Yeah, I get to about 90. Usually, if they're on 93 and it's like
I was gonna say
and
93.
93 and it's a key game, I'll let them have one more.
Yeah.
But if they're like 91, I'll just go right. I will happily take the rotation here, and and just sort of sometimes I play better with a rotator squad. And I think it's a bit like I haven't played FIFA for years, but used to be like that handicap where if you had a worse side, you'd always play better against a better side and things like that. I know that's not prevalent in MFL, and we had the mid-season report which we can discuss in a bit, but yes.
I think that's right. I think with a cup as well, like it helps with your rotation, doesn't it? So if you've got another game in the cup, even if you're in knockout stage, that's one game that your league side, if you're doing full rotation or a chunky 3 or 4 rotation of players, get to rest, get 1, 2, 3% back. Obviously, that's good. And the moment those disappear, so like if you're not in the cup for the second half of the season, everybody needs to now rotate through the league because the only way you get a rest is by missing a league game.
Yeah.
And in the first half, like I make sure like my best players miss the cup game where possible in the rotation.
Yeah. So I'll probably give myself like I don't know what I give
6 now.
Yeah, I'll give myself a 6. Yeah, after hearing about Blades when I completely forgot about it. It feels like it was so long ago now. That mid-season break, although it's only 2-3 days, feels like it's a good couple of weeks. So you got an 8, I got a 6. 14 out of 20. That's not horrendous. Yeah, we'll take that. Just averages a 7, which is the most common answer everyone gives. Right, let's hit the dev updates then. So they released the mid-season report, which we can touch in a bit about some of the takeaways on there, or some of the key metrics from the first half of the season. I know a lot of people look forward to these reports because it gives an indication of how the upset ratio has been, cards, goals, that sort of thing. People always go, oh, I felt there's been more pens this year or more cards this year. These are the reports which state out, yes, you were right, or no, you were just, gibber-gabber giving it large ones in Discord for no reason. Obviously, they had the Rabid play. They've talked about all the rewards being gifted for that already and distributed, the kits, the patterns. If you have a trial club, you will have noticed you now have the ability to upgrade into full clubs. So you can't really miss it. If you're on your trial club homepage, it's sort of like blue fluorescent color, and you click on it, you can upgrade. The biggest bit of the dev update, which should, in my opinion, be bolded, but it's not, is with regards to the engine. It says, following the mid-season report and the feedback we got, we've decided for the first time to keep the same engine for Season 10, adding a bit more stability requested by many. I'm going to come to you, Root, and we'll get your opinions on that in a second, because I know it's been very dividing within the community. So there's also been some work has continued on refining goalkeeper behaviour and defining how experience and energy will work with substitution. So I'm guessing that's leading up to potentially sort of substitutions coming into those match plans and how we can play around with that, because obviously it needs to have sort of a whole overhaul as to minute orientated fatigue rather than just sort of, you played, you comes down by percentage, etc. The kit contest with one of our finalists with us today, not the winner, but one of our finalists. And then also,
thanks for that.
No worries. I've got to get in where I can in this episode with what we're going to talk about.
Sure.
And then community shout outs to Alexis. He said this year was his 2-year anniversary of releasing MFL Assistant. I remember when we had him on the pod, maybe early episode, maybe the early 20s, maybe even like the 16, 17 episode. And that was when MFL Assistant has just started. And it was, even if we listen back to that now, you can hear his inspiration, what he wanted it to become. And then 2 years on, it has become that and so much more. And we've got MFL coach. So Alexis, a massive thank you to all you do for the community in terms of the service and the dashboards and all the functionality you have on your 2 amazing websites, because I know so many people use them. So
Amazing website.
congrats on the 2-year anniversary. And he says as a celebration, he'll be releasing a new feature every day next week. So,
Wow, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I did see
which
that.
which will be
And
huge.
I'm kind of like, what are you going to
Yeah.
release every day for 7 days? It's exciting because I already think they're great websites.
Mm.
So it'll be interesting to see. I wonder if he's going to do like a bit of a build up, like not that they're not all going to be important. Is it going to be like a little, like a release,
Yeah.
and as the week goes on, it's like we're getting to big bang, and all of a sudden it's like
Sunday is
don't know.
like big,
Yeah,
like we're
yeah.
going to see lots of organic angles and all these sort of things on the site. I've got to get them in where I can. I did find it funny. It was who was it? It was Necro Fries who got sent the MFL merch from the Gold Rush, and just the
Yes,
label
yes.
had organic
And you
cotton on it,
replied,
and
didn't you?
I
I
just
saw
I
you
just if I
reply.
see
I saw
organic,
you.
I just can't think of organic angles now. So whenever I see that word organic, I've just got to just brings my mind organic angles.
No.
But before we get into the I know, well, let's do the engine first before we get into the mid-season report. The engine, they're keeping
Mhm.
it for season 10. What are your thoughts, Mr. Cause, on that?
I think it's a good idea. I think I'm glad. I'm all for that. I think they need to do it for sustainability as well, because I'm not saying every year is a blank slate, but when they have such big overhauls of the engine, we all have to relearn. And I know some people see that as part of the challenge. But actually, when you're building a club and an agency and players for a certain way of playing, and you've got investment in it financially as well with these players, you need some element of sustainability.
Mm,
And having a match engine that, for the most part, and we can see that from some of the mid-season report, which I know we'll dive into, is very balanced. You know, they've hit a good place for like red cards and this kind of things and stuff like that. Now, I think it's a really good place to pause and go, right, we will develop it still, and we'll make tweaks to it as we go if we need to, but we're not going to overhaul it. And what that means is, you can really hone in on your tactics, that what you want to play, and the players that play it. And because seasons only last for like 6 weeks, right? And there's still 28 games, and you don't have a lot of way to test it unless you're doing like challenges of friendlies. But it's only over those first few weeks when you get into it. We've all got a whole season of knowledge behind us
mm,
now, knowing that not really anything's going to be affected. And I'll be able to go back. You'll be able to go back and look at highlights from this season, the players you played, and watch them back and how they did. And that's what I would plan to do, and go, so did that player not perform in that position, or did he overperform in that position, and so on? And is it because he has better shooting, or is he faster, or is he more physical, and those types of things? And in your mind, that will help you build squads. And I know I bring a lot of that thought from the tactic testing that we do, because again, like, you're always having to build tactics and try and find ways that work, and it's very difficult. And if you can keep that knowledge, and it just tweaks slightly, like improving goalkeepers, or trying to balance red cards or yellow cards, they're not really gameplay things as
mm,
such. So I'm really all for it, and I think it's a good thing to do. And I think what would be good then is if they kind of got to, like, I don't know. When I say annual, I literally mean like 12 months, but every so many seasons, maybe they do invest a few bigger tweaks at that
mm,
point, because they've realized they need to overhaul something, because they've got a lot of feedback. It'll stop knee jerk things as well. And, people, it's one of those, well, I know what people will be doing. I've seen it in the Discord, like, as well, if those, everyone's almost like, well, you like the engine still, you'd like to keep it because you're winning, and you'd like to keep it, you don't want to keep it because you lose. It's not about that. It's about the sustainability. I've got clubs that are doing both,
mm.
but I literally think I can go, right, like I just said, then look back on highlights, what's working, what's not, and look at your agency and think, like, what are the players I need, who do I want, and when it does have some financial thing in it, you have to have sustainability. You cannot keep changing it, because you'll buy a player or have a player now thinking, yeah, that works. And I've seen it with my agency, and other people will. You go to next season, you plan it out, your formation maybe doesn't work anymore, and all of a sudden this formation's better than this. And even though when you look on, like you just said, Alexis site, they all beat each other anyway. Like, let's be honest, like, they all beat each other. It's down to the setup and the players.
Mm.
So actually, you can hone in. So I think it's a good thing personally.
I'm in the same boat as you, Root. I'm a big fan of having a bit of stability within the engine. You know, some people say every 6 weeks they have to relearn, start from scratch, wipe the slate clean and go again with it. And especially if you've not got you don't own all the players, you bring a new player, it takes time to learn about that as well. Yes, you could say that you bring in new players next season with the same engine, you still got to learn how those players fit into your system. I do completely understand that. Um, yeah, I've always said for a long time that MFL is kind of a zero-sum game. If I beat you, I'm happy, you're sad. and
Hmm.
your opinion on the engine is somewhat heavily related to how you perform. You know,
Of course.
and if you're winning all your games, you're going to love it. If you're losing all your games, you for the most part you're going to hate it. Yes, there's some scenarios in between where you don't really care depending on your results, but um I think this is quite a particularly stable engine. This one, we're not seeing some huge groundbreaking issues which needs to be fixed. I would like confirmation on what does keeping the same engine mean. So they said they're working on goalkeeper behaviour. Does that mean that's going to be improved for season 10's engine, or is that going to be improved for season's 11? I'd like to know to what extent are some of the changes that we can expect to see in season 10. You know, are we? You know, when they say Quinton gives the update, or Yats give the dev update every Friday and says, "Oh, Quinton's been rebalancing the engine." Will that occur for next season? Because it's those sort of things where I like to know, and I know it's not as easy as stating here's a threshold for what gets included in the update, what doesn't, but maybe a little bit of, and I guess there's the patch notes, so you can probably go on there and read them each
Mm.
time. But I'm, for one, a fan of it. I know some people aren't. And I guess it goes two ways. I could sit here and say, well, what happens if there was a new engine next season and you didn't like that one either? And
Yeah.
but it can work the other way and you can go, actually, maybe it did benefit you. But I think, and you said this earlier about when you said you wanted to come on the pod and it was early days and now you've been MFL more, you've learnt more about the game, tactics, the engine. I will take what you've said there and apply it to this scenario where we've had 6 weeks to learn. Well, we will have 6 weeks this season to learn about the engine, or another 6 weeks next season. Take what you've learned over the last 6 weeks and put yourself in a better position to do well next season.
Exactly.
So I'm all, I'm a big fan of it being like that. Although I did say in my tweet, despite my thoughts after the first 4 or 5 matches when I think I hadn't won a game in 6,
Mm.
and when they released this, I lost my first game in second half of season 5-0. I was like, oh no, have I
Yeah.
just tweeted this and I've lost my first game 5-0? I can't be saying this, but I'm for one a big fan of the stability in the engine.
Exactly. And like we know there's 28 games over 6 weeks, right? So it is a season, but it is football, right? So really, if the engine stays as it is, it's again, I go back to the fact it's about the team instructions, the player instructions, and the players you have within those playing positions. So I actually firmly believe every formation can beat every formation a lot. And you see that, like I said,
5 at
on
the back shouldn't
Alexa's
be able to
site.
beat anyone. No, I'm joking. I've been warned to not
but
slander 5 at the back so
but
much.
But what it will allow to do is if the engine stays the same, I know I'm really bad with this because again, in the past I'm kind of like, right, let me get my 4-1-2-1-2 narrow working right, and I keep that for the season because I don't because yeah you're gonna have variants, but there's maybe be some more tweaks next season, so you're not gonna invest. Next season I'll clean the slate, but I couldn't get my words out there. But what you're able to do now is you actually, like I was saying, you can go back and look. And I could go back and think, if you kept a log of it, you maybe keep some notes or whatever everybody wants to do. I could go, right, how did that team with this match engine and those players play against a 5-4-1 or whatever, right? How did I do it? Did I lose every time? So I could then try and hone in at that same formation, but with different instructions and different ones to try and beat that formation, which I know often people do, but you've got more ability to do that because I might have only played that against them in that 3 times this season. So other
Mm.
than doing the random generating of matches or going on like Alexa's site and doing that, which you can do, it's not that easy. Whereas now you literally look back because again, in those cup games, you've got to remember people or league games, people are putting out their teams they want to play.
Mm.
When you do random matches or you challenge someone, you're playing
No
whatever team's in
guarantee.
their default
Yeah.
slot. And I know that my default ones often are just whatever's with tactic testing for the pod. So like you can challenge me if you want, but you're just playing against some random team with a random players because that my default is just what I use for the pod now. That is literally it. So I suppose, long story short, I'm trying to like saying there is you'll be able to define your team more, your styles of play against different tactics more, knowing that the engine is the engine.
Mm.
And that doesn't mean you're going to go do it and you're going to beat them because you've just honed in on tactics. But you're going to have given yourself a little bit of an edge, aren't you? Because you'll have learned why your tactic didn't work against any said formation. I'm picking 5 at the back because you mentioned it, but any said formation, and then you can learn that. And then can you find one that's just a nice balance that kind of can win and lose? And then that's when match changes come in as well, the match plans. And if they enhance them, got injuries and substitutions. And that's why the engine has to stay stable, because we've already got lots of other things that are now going to come into play in those 2 or 3 things I mentioned. And you cannot be thinking for the off season, I need to learn a new engine when I'm still got to remember about building these for my next division. Because have I gone up? Have I gone down? I just finish outside the playoffs and I want to win, but I liked my tactic. But obviously, I lost some key games. How did I lose those games? I'll have to stop because
Yeah,
this is like
because
it's a section in the YTXP pod. I'm not stopping because of that,
yeah, yeah.
but I will go on
You
for like
you
half an
could
hour
talk
because
ages
like
about the engine and
yeah.
how
So
you
I'm going to
adapt to
apologise
changes.
and
And I
pause.
think I maybe said on a pod or maybe on a stream where I wanted to get people's perception on, do they view the engine changing as here's 1 build of it, here's 2 build, here's 3 build, or do they see it as a constant evolving engine going into others? Because then you can maybe take bits from a previous engine and apply it to a new one, but sometimes it feels like it's a whole new engine each time rather than evolution.
Yeah,
But I imagine MFL envision it as an evolution of the same engine progressing.
yeah.
But some things which may
But
have
now
worked
we'll see
previously
that, won't
don't
we?
work. But yeah, maybe we'll see some of that. And I'm I don't think there's anything, I've not, apart from a couple bugs which happened, there's thousands, at 55, 56,000 games. There's going to be a couple of games where
Yeah.
something. I saw an own goal yesterday, which a centre back popped in through his own net from about 25 yards on the left hand side of his own half. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't happen. That shouldn't happen. And I'm really sorry it happened to you. But they're sort of things which will be fixed
But do you
for it.
know for a fact it has never happened in football? Do you know for a fact? You're saying it never happened. I know it probably
Yeah, no,
hasn't. But do you
this is
know?
what I get to.
Yeah,
Where it's like,
yeah.
part of me always loves the "it happens in real life" excuse. Sometimes that really bugs me, and it depends which way of the
Of
argument I
course.
fall, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. Totally. Yeah. Bruce reminds me of that quite a lot. I'll be like, no, we'll be doing the other way. But like, yeah, it can happen in real life. I'm like, I don't care about real life. I don't want it to happen
Yeah, because it
in
happens to me, I
this.
don't give a shit. No. But if it happens against you, yeah, it happens all the time, mate. You should just
Yeah.
change your expectations.
Yeah.
Um,
But we should see this now becomes an evolution, because what they're saying is this platform is the base of the future. So any iterations that come in each season, if there is a tweak, it sounds like it's going to be tweaks, which, to be fair, for them to get to that place in 10 seasons, I know you had the bits, the 0.1s and so on, but to get there in that time, to be able to be comfortable as a game, to be able to do that, that's a big achievement itself, because they won't have just sat there lightly and gone, oh, we're quite happy with it, let's just sign that off and then we'll tweak it if we need to, but got other things to do. They would not stop on that match engine until they were happy.
yeah.
And like you say, you're going to dive into the report anyway, and I think that tells some of that story in there.
Yeah, so we got the mid-season report, and I just want to sort of highlight some of the things which I found, some of the takeaways I found most interesting, but also ones probably the community will probably find most interesting if they've not listened or not read it. Sorry, I know some people don't read it. I definitely recommend you do read it, because it will sometimes help your understanding as to maybe what you're seeing, or provide reason as to, if you goals are down from last season, well, after you look at the data, goals are down from last season, but if you would have seen how they communicated it, that was intentional. They saw that there was fewer goals per match in season 7. They upped it. Season 8 was a very entertaining game from a goal count point of view. They wanted to tone that down. So just to put that into stats, season 7, 2.83 goals per match. Season 8, 3.81. Now they've toned that down to 3.07, but they're maintaining the same shots per match. So some people go, oh, it's not entertaining as last year. It's not. It's not as entertaining as last year. But I think if you were still to compare it to divisions across Europe, it's still, I think it ranks third after the Premier League and the Champions League in terms of goals per match. So we're not, Serie A boring yet. We weren't even that. I don't know if we were even that at some point. We were never Serie A boring. Sorry, Fraj. When it comes to goals per game, so that's something I want to take away. And Root, have you noticed a decrease in goals across the season for you and your matches?
I mean, not really. And I was just gonna respond. No, I was gonna respond to you on that, because I think as well, you've got to remember this again. Without going back over it, and I think you could do a whole pod on the match engine now. It's going to be stable. Remember in season 10, some of the new features that came in: attacking dependency, can you more attacking, less attacking, match plans, these types of things. All these things affect what those stats are showing as well, and people are getting used to those. And some people not even use them. I don't use match plans. I don't really use the tendency that much. I think I've defended attacking on a couple of plays, and that's it, because I don't know enough about what it's going to do. Whereas now I've got a whole season, and
Dive
that's
into it a
not
bit
going to
more.
change that much, and they will do the same thing they did this season. More and more people use those. Some of those numbers will just change anyway, because people will go, oh, actually, my player will take more shots if I bang him on long shots and attacking and direct, and he's actually going to take double the amount of shots in a game. He's probably going to miss another third of them, but he's going to take more. And I think they will know that in the background. They'll know what everyone's running. So they'll be like, okay, from these settings, only X percentage is actually being used. So if we bring that variance in and actually expect people to add those, they'll use them more in next season, because they know they want to, a bit like what I said, oh, I just missed the playoffs. Oh, well, I wonder if I had a more attacking play style, would I have got in the playoffs, and so on. So I think actually those numbers will change anyway because of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really noticed much of a decrease or anything in my goals. They're still about the same as last year. But again, it comes back to how you set your formations up.
Yeah.
I don't go uber attacking or defensive. I'm like kind of straight down the middle player with a couple of people that do something different, like a couple of players that do attack and one that defends. And that's just how my brain in football from Football Managers made me play, and that's how I do it.
Yeah.
And I think some of that as well, you got to remember as well, some people are playing this will go all out attack and be like, well, why am I losing 1-0? It's like, well, because all your players are in the 18-yard box of the opposition's goal. Not all of them, but like, you've got to play it how football plays, and the engine plays like that. So no, have you noticed it massively different?
I would say in some of my games in Stone I have, and what's quite nice is in the report, you've got goals and shots per match, which you can then, if you were to break it down to divisions, you could say, oh well, Flint might have more goals than Diamond because of the nature of those leagues and how the the range of overalls or strength is wider in the lower divisions compared to the upper divisions, which is why they've put at the max 10 difference per player, at max 2 difference, so basically even, where goals actually average at 2.68, which is actually puts us just in between Liga and La Liga. So I've noticed a slight decrease in goals, but it totally depends on like what division I'm in and things like that. But they have said for next iteration, the focus will be on boosting shot volume further and raising goals slightly as well. So they do want to raise goals slightly more.
As long as they raise them for my team scoring, not the opposition, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with that.
In terms of upsets, this is the first season that we've seen. If you have the first time since season 5 that if you have an overall difference of 220 overall, you have a 100% win rate. That hasn't happened the previous 2 seasons. It's been like 0.5% chance of the other team drawing or getting anything out of the game. But their key takeaways.
Let's be honest. Yeah. If you've got a 220 difference, it should be 100%.
It should be 100%.
I don't
Ryan messaged me and was like, "No, this is why I will then come to you and go, happens in real life, mate." So that's why I think that excuse shouldn't really, because I could just go, well, it happens in real life, chap. Like, so it must be some sort of percentage. It has to be there somewhere.
But in real life, does it happen that a team at the bottom beats the team that's the best at the top? I mean, I guess okay, yeah.
The probability is stupidly slim.
But it's there, isn't it?
But it's not 0, and I think that's why there should be a tiny bit which exists. But
so you think season 7 was maybe the sweet spot there, where it's like 98 point something back then, wasn't it? I think from memory.
Yeah, well, that's just looking at 220, isn't it? As in the overall. But they have said with
the one I care the most about is the like, when I look at that table, which I've just brought it up for me now. Is like, it's that 22.
Yeah, that's the one I
hone in on. Yeah.
That's
and I think
that's like what?
That's the one I'm thinking. When I'm saying like about the variance and like, that happens in real life, I'm looking at the 22. I don't expect to be in any competition where I'm against someone that's got 220. So like, I don't even need
that's
to.
Just like that's +2 difference, isn't it? Yeah, +2 difference in every player. Yeah. You're winning at least 50% of the time, and you're taking away points 75% of the time, which I think most people would probably go out. It's probably fine.
About right.
But another thing to consider, it's not all about overall and big number on front of card. We know how the matrix can skew things when it comes to overalls. But the key takers from the upset says, with the drop in goals between season 8 and season 9, we expected to see slightly more upsets, and this is what happened.
Mm.
especially in matches where overall difference was small. Beyond that range, results stayed very close to Season 8 levels. Increase in draws, evenly matched clubs shows the effect of low scoring. Fewer goals mean fewer chances for the stronger team to make the difference. Still, and it's interesting and satisfactory to see that despite goals returning to Season 7 levels, the number of upsets in Season 9 is much lower than Season 7. A slight increase in goals next iteration should help reduce upsets slightly while keeping competitive tensions high.
Have Have we ever seen a goalkeeper get sent off, or does it not happen at the minute because you can't replace him? Is that why?
We've never seen a goalkeeper get sent off. No, we've
No,
not.
but is that going to
I
come?
haven't got a
Because
clue,
when
mate.
substitutions
I
come in,
imagine it might do then. If
it
we
has to,
see it.
doesn't it?
Yeah, I'd like to
Because
see it happen. It
like
can happen.
I want to see my keeper bring the last man
Yeah, I
down.
want to see him come out and just absolutely, punch someone, go out for a punch and clatter the man.
Yeah,
You know,
I literally want to see that happen. Red card
I
him
think
off.
it was last season, maybe season 7. Bob, which we'll speak to in a bit when we get to the Diamond League. His goalkeeper took a corner,
Wow. Okay.
and then like the other team just had no attacking intent to try and score while the goalkeeper not ran, just walked back to his goal. It's like,
Yeah.
lads, do you
Wow.
fancy
Okay.
like trying to score when there's actually no one in net and there's no one covering the goal? It's like, no, I don't know how that happened, but that was quite funny. Any other final takes on the mid-season before we quickly skim over Diamond?
Nope, nothing from me.
Cool. A last bit on Dev Update I wanted to mention. I always mention the amount of trial clubs we've got in the game. When we recorded last week, there was 1,895 trial clubs. Thanks to Alexis and his amazing NFL assistant, we can see how many trial clubs there are. Just before we started recording, we'd seen that number increase on the week to by 14.6% to 2,173. So
Wow.
that's
Nice.
like nearly just shy of a 300 club uptick in trial clubs. So we'll see how those. I think we've got a question from the community later on about our thoughts on
have we?
commitment levels. Don't worry, those came in like within the hour of
No, it's fine. It's
with it
fine.
coming in.
I'm cool.
Let's quickly share my screen for the Diamond League. We will keep this rather brief because of time, etc. But the top of the league, we have Mr. Orange Fly Bob. He was top at the mid-season. He's still top, being hunted by the Meta Mercenaries. Since the restart of the season, Bob has drawn his opening 2 games against Jogo Bonito London and DFC Amsterdam Lions, whereas Meta Mercenaries has won both of theirs 3-0. So they're hot on the heels of Soul Iron Pigs of Bob. Short, and Meta's also technically joint second with Bashoni Milano of XVIX, isn't it? I cannot see that team with not being scrubbed. It's XVIXs. And then our bottom 4, Club Atletico Tango, Big Wilbur's pushed them outside of the automatic relegation spots. Then our bottom 3 is Hamburg Harmony, Sao Paulo, which are 2 of the promoted sides from last year's Platinum Division. No surprise to see them in there. Then probably one of the big surprises is DFC Amsterdam Lions, Dio's team, which I think has been in this division for 3 or 4. Is he going to kill him? I'm going to have to, it'll be really awkward now if he's been in here since season 1. But I'm pretty sure he got relegated at some point and then came back up again. I'm sorry, Dio, if that's untrue. I'm more than happy to shout at me on socials if that is the case. We also ask our guests, Root, if they take any interest in Diamond. So I asked that question to you. Do you follow Diamond at all, apart from the 5 minutes we give it on the pod each week?
I only follow it when you guys cover it, to be honest, or if I see something on X, from like when Nepal puts something out, or one of the other guys like Orange Fly or whatever puts something out, and obviously I'll be following them, so I'll see that. But I don't take a keen interest in it. I mean, it's night and day away from where I am.
Yep.
And that's purely the only reason, really. I'm very much concerned around the league that I'm in and what's going on, really. But I do obviously listen to you guys cover it, but no,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter to me who wins and who loses in this. No offense to all the managers out there. Like, I hope you all get the wins you deserve to win. But yeah, I don't follow.
No, that's fair enough. I think a lot of people are probably the same unless they have some sort of vetted interest in the Diamond League, whether it's a friend's running a club there or they've got a player or there's some sort of like the final match day is if someone loses, they get relegated, someone wins, they win the title. Most people don't particularly pay interest in it. Mr. SR Monkey, who was on a couple of weeks ago, said that his prediction was either Bob or Sid is going to win the league. Currently, as it stands, he'll be probably receiving quite a decent payout if Bet365 will give him the odds for this. However, you can never count Meta Mercenaries out. I think they were like 6 or 7 points behind going into the mid-season break, and now they're only 3 behind. Has Ronan's mid-season tactics,
And look at what they did last season as well.
Yeah, just absolutely romped second half of the season. This is why I hate saying it. I wouldn't be surprised if we come back this time next week and Ronan's won like every game in the league next week. That's just how the Meta Mercenaries roll.
Do you think he sits there like it and does this on purpose? You're like, I'm back.
Yeah.
This is the real way I'm going to play.
He's just like there with the puppet strings. He's got us all on strings. He's like, I'm never going to really get relegated. I'm never really not going to win the league, am I, folks? So, so we've got cup games tonight, leagues. So technically, whenever you listen to this, if you're watching it as it premieres on 6:30 UK time on a Monday, the games won't have kicked off yet. So let's see if the league or how it looks in a week's time. Right. I showed my my frustration at the fact that Airtable hadn't been updated with any sales from the 20th of October, and a big thanks to Alexis and Taggart who suggested alternatives to try and find Splash of the Week. But I was very fortunate that because of this week's Splash, I was able to basically go on the sales button, screenshot at the moment it happened, and then go, right, I think I'm good. I think there's not going to be any bigger splash that happens throughout this week. So without further ado, Splash of the Week. This week's Splash of the Week goes to Mr. Orange Fly, top of the league in Diamond. He needs to reinforce, needs to increase his strength and get stronger for the second half of the season. He has bought a Serbian player, so I'm going to absolutely butcher the name of this. Goes by the name of let me share my screen with you here, Mr. Core, so you can see this as well. Oh no, there we go, we can share it. I thought we had some technical difficulties in. I thought it was going to be a bit awkward then. I was like, hang on, I can't have technical difficulties on here. Share. Let me see. No, it's not that. We want this. Dragoljub Vukotic. Yep. We're just going to call him Big Drago or Big Vuk. 95 rated.
Drago. It'll be Drago, won't it?
Drago.
Dragoljub.
I'm
not going. Well, I just want to join in. I don't want you to be the only one that looks silly here, so I'm just trying to help you out.
Okay, I appreciate it. We can be silly together, right? Half's the embarrassment or doubles it. Depends which way we look at it.
Doubles it. Vukotic. That's easy.
I would go Vukotic like a ch at the end.
Ooh, okay,
not like a tic tac. I'll go like a titch tatch. That's what I would probably do it. Okay, we're double the embarrassment, right?
Anyway,
he's a 95 rated player, bought by Bob from Greninja, a fellow Diamond competitor, for 1,349 USD. He's 31 years old. He's a right back. He's Serbian. His stats are as follows: 89 pace, 42 shooting. No one gives a flying piss about shooting on a right back, really. 95 pace, 95 passing, 93 dribbling, 98 defending, and 95 physical. I've not checked his progression. I doubt he's got the retirement symbol. I'm going to give you a really tough question, Mr. RootCoors. Is it worth the money? Because I know you've got extreme experience and knowledge of ultimate player sales, like all of us do, right?
I think he needs more shooting for it to be worth the money.
Well, there we go.
I know you say the shooting doesn't matter, but yeah, I think he needs more. I get a lot of goals from my left backs and right backs, ironically.
So basically, you're not impressed with the sale because it's not got enough shooting.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh, fair play.
Right back or not, I think, he needs some more shooting in there.
Well,
now I have no idea if it's good value or not.
Neither do I.
I have no idea. But if he think, well, to be honest, to quote Bruce, if he thinks it's good value, then it's good value.
I like that. That's a very sensible thing that Bruce has just said there. Not that he doesn't stop supporting Hull City anymore, but yeah, we won't. That's another time for Bruce. That's another time for Bruce. But yeah, congrats, Bob, on being this week's Splash of the Week. I know a couple of weeks ago you were at the actual Splash, but because you bought him for 0.01, it didn't come up in my filtering. But now you purchased him not down the back alley and off the counter. You've purchased him fully legally with fees included for $1,349. So congrats to you, sir, and hopefully this player can be a pivotal asset in your title charge in Diamond. That's going to be it for the marketplace because I can't do anything else. I can only find Splash of the Week. So I asked people out there. We've not done it for a while. I see you guys do it. So I probably should do it again on our one. Ask the questions from the community, and ask them just like what are their thoughts on the engine staying the same, what are their thoughts on the Rabbit. Just trying to give them suggestions and things. Owen replied and goes, yes, he's a big fan of the engine staying the same. He says, even though for me personally, this is one of my worst performances, it makes sense now to try and break down the engine and make my formation players work in it. So, opinion of someone who hasn't performed that well, but is actually enjoying the fact that he can now try and get to grips with it and go again next season. Yes, you could argue he'd be in the same spot if it's a new one, but what happens if it's a new one next season and it gets worse, for him, etc. Said he loved the Rabbit Play event. It was something different that was basically all about having a bit of fun. Would have been nice to know if I need to say MFL or not, but other than that, I love this event. Very creative and looked amazing. Then he's kind of asked us a question here. Thoughts on trial clubs? How many do you think will stay? Do you think the concept works? Needing to buy an $8 club at the end? Should they do something different instead? I'm just going to kick this one off here. I've seen a few people already who have committed to the $80 to upgrade their club. And it's quite powerful looking. I think I'll start that sentence wrong. It's quite interesting looking at how much people value the first ownership and the history of the club. You talk about historic kits, and you love that. Sort of on the history note here, people are, I own the club for the first time. I may not be a big fan of the location, but I was the first one to own it when it happened. So I think a lot of people are doing it for that. How many do I think will stay? I would not be able to confidently put a percentage or number on it. No way. But does it need something different? Probably not. Do I think $8 is still quite steep? Yes. Is there better value on the marketplace? Yes. You could just pay like $20 less, $30 less, go straight to ice, which you're probably going to have a better time, more rewards. So that's what I kind of think. Root, are you similar? Could you put a percentage on it? Would you even want to at this point?
I know you've just gone, you can pay $20 more and go twice. That's fine. But it depends the kind of player you are. Like,
yep.
You're going to have to loan players or buy players and have the ability to play at that level. I think there's obviously something about being the first owner of the club. I would imagine if you got a Flint club and it's from a location that you actually quite like, could be anywhere in the world, doesn't even have to be your hometown, but it's from a location you quite like. And then you're also winning the league, let's say, or in the top two at this point and going to the end of the season. You've got to remember you're buying a Spark club, not a Flint club, because you're about to get promoted. So it's $80 for that club. I think what they should have done is they should have been, if you committed to your trial club, you should have got a pack. Like
I would have liked to have done a promo. I would hate.
I think it should have been a promo no matter what.
I would hate to see them do that in the off season.
Yes.
If they suddenly go like, an extra incentive, do it now. I would have given incentive straight off the bat and done it like that.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. And I think if in the off season we see what we normally see, where it's like if you buy a club now and you're not going to be a trial club and you get your pack, it's still going to be a bit of a kick in the teeth to those that.
I would expect they don't do the usual club because they didn't do the club promo last season. No. I know Palmer last week and many others are off the fact that let's not do the promo, or if you're going to do the promo, do it for new users, not for everyone, because so many people just buy the club and they own it, and then or they're going to go sell it or they're going to sell the pack. Let's give the promo to new people as a promotion to enter the game, or maybe like every 5 seasons you do a promo for everyone.
I think the last thing I will say on it is, whilst I do have reservations about the $80, which I said, like, I think you should get a pack with it, and I think that makes the 80 better. And I do think people that are obviously more likely to get promoted, or they've got a club in there where they want in a place, and then they're enjoying the game or whatever, are going to do it. We've all got to remember it has to be more expensive than the second-hand market. If they reduce that club to 60, that you're literally on a second-hand market, your club's going to be worth like 25, as in like to sell. That is not a good second-hand market. I don't think the second-hand market should be dropping below 50. I know we've got some 42s and 48s and that, but like a 50 on a second-hand market for a club in the lowest division seems about right. So you've actually got it's more the fact in your mind, you've got to think, is $30 worth me converting the club?
Yeah.
And then you tick off those things. Is it where I want it to be? Did I win the league? So actually am I paying $30 and getting a spark? And so on. And then if they chuck the pack in there as like a little sweetener, and you also get a pack that's worth, I don't know, $10 or whatever, actually you're only having to get that $20. You would literally have considerably more people that would invest, and I think that'll probably be how they're testing the water. So
Mm,
when you saying how many people convert, I'd be surprised if it's any more than like
that's
40%.
what I had in my mind,
That's
about
where
40, 45 in my head. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's probably what they'd be aiming for. And then they'd probably go, right, okay, next season, if we do some of these tweaks and we have some of these sweeteners, can we get that to like, 45, 55% and so on? And then, you know, and go from there really.
Yeah.
And I think that's how that'll be.
I mean, there's what,
I love the
just over
idea though.
2,000 trial clubs. Obviously, not all of those will be from will be taking part in season 9. If someone gets a trial club now, their full season doesn't kick in till season 10.
Hmm.
So we won't know, like, maybe even a half of the trial clubs now, if they will
Hmm.
commit for another 8
Yeah.
weeks as yet. But if we were to say I don't know how many trial clubs were in Flint. Was it 400 or 500? I know it wasn't as many trial clubs as
Yeah.
they were,
Something like
because I
that.
know that you could see the stats on and I think it was Lurker or someone else posted the graph
Hmm.
about it each season. But if 45% of, say, 500 comes over, I'll happily take an increase of 200 people coming into
Yep.
MFL. That's like 8%
Hmm.
increase, 7% increase in the
Yeah.
amount of people who own a club. So
Hmm.
I would be
And you got to remember now with trial clubs, you can't always just base it on how many convert, because like you're going to join MFL. The first thing you're going to want to click is a trial club because you're going to know what it all is. You might have like almost zero, not even hardly any intention. You might be just wanting to see what it's all about. That's the thing with a trial
mm,
club, isn't it? Like, so you can't go, you've got to set your conversion quite low and be happy with it, because you are going to know people. How many times in your life will you go to a website, do you go on it, hit the free trial and cancel it, but you didn't even in a day because you just wanted to be a bit nosy. Even
yeah,
you've got all sorts of different characters out there. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
yeah. Another question here from Risu, an idea, if anything, an idea said, let us buy clubs of MFL where we can choose a location. Maybe restricted once a season, or combine it with the need of spending some MFL to get the rights to do it. He says the positives, or just like 2 extra points, many more satisfied players at dream locations. MFL sells the clubs for $79.99. I've got to let you answer this one first, because I've got quite a strong opinion on this.
I love Risu. I think he's great. I think lovely
Yep.
person. I don't like the idea. I don't. I think it's a roll of a lottery. You do it, and also that adds again to the secondary market, which I talked about before, and or trading clubs in locations. I know how difficult it was for me to get my Hull one and then the York one for the YTXP. I don't think you should be able to do it personally. I'm not passionate about it. I just don't think you should. I think it should be you open up your pack and it's a surprise, just like when you open up a player pack. And if you want a club from a particular place, that's why the market's there.
Yeah,
That's me.
I'm
That's me.
full agreement. Hopefully this Risu, I love you as well, man. Keep coming onto the streams and getting Risu Turin coming on the watch alongs. But
Yeah.
there was something about when I opened my first packs not knowing where it was, and I love, as much as I now own my Norwich licenses and I want to get as many as I can. I'll constantly look at the marketplace. Has a Norwich one been on there yet? And yes, it's kind of painful if you're if it's a location everyone really wants, but if it's not, you're kind of in a bit of a good scenario, because if you pull Poole in the south coast of England, I don't think many people from here are going to try and admire and get that location.
Mm.
Like someone grabs Hull, might be floor price, for example.
I wish it was, mate. When I picked mine up, I wish it was.
I think I paid just like the pack price for mine from Joe B. He packed the Norwich one,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love the randomness to it, and they have said they allow something that might do in the future, people to relocate, but there would be caps on those locations. What happened if this, say, was happening and everyone goes London, and then suddenly, because there's too many London, someone can't get to pick their location,
Hmm.
but if everyone else was to pick it but someone now can't because of a cap on the location,
Yeah.
then is that fair to them? Probably not. So I think
Hmm.
better to keep it fair is just by having it completely random.
Yeah. But can I just add
Yep.
to that? If MFL do want to let you pick your location, they do want to do a deal. I still need a Nashville one, so I'm up for the idea if it benefits me. I'm joking. I don't agree with it, but I love you, Risu, as well. Like,
Another idea from Risa is saying install a special league. He said 9 content creators and 3 normal players. Entry fee is you buy a new club license. Also, the content creators, no sponsorship. Everyone has to buy it. All players of squad must be like a capped at highest overall. Before starting, we all know who 12 are in the league. The 3 normal people, like non-content creators, can apply, and there will be a raffle who made it. Good old raffle. We'll know who is very good at scouting because they're overall capped. We'll know who's good at tactics because everything is overall capped. Content creators can make a lot of content, and we can create a bit of hype for this league. I want to kind of twist this slightly and expand it on what you three do with Ron John at the moment. Is there something if club delegation becomes a thing, which we could almost generate one ourselves that way anyway? Because I think the idea is really cool, but I don't think it's for MFL to. I think it's for us to do as a community and as content creators to try and install something like that.
Yeah, I literally agree, because again, it's very difficult if MFL runs something like that to define and decide who are content creators and who aren't, and which content creators would be involved and wouldn't. And I think I saw Risu's tweet, because, you know, there's lots of content creators out there, even, and there's some of the mainstream ones, if you like, WenDirks and the Rambles and so on and things like that, and Alexis and everybody else creating websites. But then there will be some little more niche ones that are finding their feet or that we enjoy watching, and there's so many out there. There will be, and as it grows, there'll be more. So it's very difficult. But I do like the idea of doing something, and you know, I'd love to have an ability to have a league that had, you know, I'm not going to name people on here because I just don't think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But certain people, certain content creators on it, and have a little bit of banter with it, and do like collabs throughout the season with each of those content creators, like start of the season, midway through, end of the season, in your own leagues, in your own worlds. So I'd like to be able to do it that way. And then you tie your own reward to it, wouldn't you? Like,
yeah,
you put some packs in,
the
you put
content
some
creators or
packs in,
whatever.
or MFL in, or whatever. So yeah, I think it's a good idea, but I think it has to be something that we do off our own bat. So, you know, we're not going to dive into it in this pod, but obviously if everybody's similar minded from a chunk of different content creators, then I'm pretty sure if the ability became real, we could make it happen.
It could. Yeah, like I know you three guys do like a piece where you basically have a club from Ron John, and it's sort of like competitive and how that all works. But is there something where if club delegation became a thing, or we could try and figure it out, or even like an off-season thing, which is kind of facilitated by MFL for like the week, but we still have to do everything, and it's a community initiative that's maybe helped and you know, formalized. But I think it's got to come from us rather than them.
And that community thing is literally a perfect example, because that's what I would. So like when we did our trial club and we did the community and we got the community to fill it. When we did our YTXP club, we filled it with mine, Bruce's, and Mr. K's players. So if we were going to go in a league like that, I would want community players. And you know, you could have like max of 2 or 3 from a person, but they could have it in more. So like someone could have a couple of players in your club and a couple of players in our club, whatever. I don't know how it would be cool if you could put it like into a draft. Let's not get a bit ahead of ourselves, but like draft it out. These are all the players in the pool, and we all do like a virtual draft and stream it all between all the content creators, or a few of them.
Right, the last question was from a big Mr. K. When will Norwich get relegated? So here comes my transition. Norwich might get relegated this season. I hope they don't. The transition is going to come very quick, folks. It's going to come very, very quick. So the transition is we're going to go to IRA MFL. This weekend, it was Hull versus Norwich. Norwich lost 2-0 because we're absolute pants. We should have been 1-0 up in the first half, but we weren't. I messaged Root and said, don't worry, mate. We're shit in the second half. You'll still win. 2 minutes in, 1-0 down. I was like, do you know what? I called it. I said to the bloke next to me, we've been all right first half. And we think we've conceded something like 7 goals in the first like 10 minutes of games, the second half. It's just not good enough. The transition comes. Norwich as a club is in crisis. You know, the board don't want to sack the manager because if the sporting director knows if he sacks the manager, he himself has got to go because he, you know, it's his job's on the line there. The transition comes quickly here. Club delegation, when it arrives, do you want there to be a clause that the person delegating the club can go, fuck it, you're doing a shit job, I'm taking it back? You know, if I loan a club to you, Root, and it's so, you know, I think it's a club which is projected 2nd or 3rd, and you've got it in the pitch of the relegation zone, should mid-season I be able to go, excuse me, mate, there's a clause there which says if you're in the relegation zone, I'm having that back.
If it's clause based and not because you've just decided to like get drunk and be a little bit of an arse, then I think so. Though I think that would be pretty cool. Like, you know, you delegate a club to me on the proviso that I'm going to try and finish in this thing, or I'm going to score X goals, or whatever like different layers you wanted. I like the idea.
Okay.
I like the idea of having some stuff on it, and I don't think it should be a given that you can look after the club, because if it's your club, you maybe want them promoted, and I'm underachieving. But you've got to, and again, we're only going to loan clubs to people we know, right? I'm not going to loan my club to a random person anyway. So if I was loaning to you and it weren't going right, we're probably both going to be like,
do you
want
not
it
going
back?
well, mate.
I can't run this club. It's not going well. Like, let's just go try and get someone else to do it. bit like you'd probably do that with a player and you take them back mid-season, don't you?
Yeah.
Whatever, so
I just kind of vision it a bit like sporting director in the manager role, where it's sort of like someone delegating the club as you bringing in a manager, and you give them objectives and you give them like a target, and if those aren't met, they've got the ability to go, right, I don't think you're doing a good enough job. I want another manager from MFL coming in here who's a bit of a a Sean Dyche, Sam Allardyce, who I know can keep me up. There will be managers out there who are like, oh my god, this team's doing so badly. Hankey's out, get rid of him. Bring in, I don't know, bring in Big Will, bring in Trust. They'll sort out the club. They'll sort out the finance, sort out the scouting, get the club doing well, and get them back at the relegation zone. I think we could see scenarios like that. But that was
it has to be redelegated though. You can't bring it back and do it.
I think you've got to give back to the manager. You've got to. That manager has to have the ability to try and take it out from relegation. But that was my very quick transition as to big Mr. K's question. I mean, Norwich of pants and then club delegation.
But let's just remember he's a Leeds fan, so what he says doesn't count anyway.
But he's got Daniel Farke, so I've got to give him some. Love because I love. Daniel
Farke. I do. I like Farke as well, but I still
he's a good man.
Don't like Leeds, so. Transition.
Right, the next transition is to a manager spotlight, because I've only got Mr. RootCoors for a certain amount of time before he's got to go record his own Yorkshire Tea XP. So this loan of 2 hours is slowly coming to an end. So we're going to put the spotlight on Mr. RootCoors. Get to know a little bit more about him as a manager. Where'd he come from, where'd he go, and everything more.
Don't go into the song.
And I was trying to think, what can I do next line, which is MFL related? I didn't have enough time to think of that. So we would like to go and start at the very beginning. What is your MFL story, Mr. Coors? How did you first come across the game? What was it about the game that sort of enticed you, kept you in? Let's go back to the very start, as to when you weren't even aware of MFL. Where did that start?
So my story actually starts with McBride. So I became good friends with McBride not even through Sora. I think I was following his content, following him on X, and he followed Nashville a little bit, and I'm a massive Nashville and MLS fan. So for whatever reason, we clicked and sort of like got talking in WhatsApp and stuff like that. And he'd been trying to get me into MFL for a long time. Like, since I don't know exactly what season he was in, but it was way before I joined in season 6, and I just kept brushing it off. I think I didn't have the time. I didn't have any spare cash. Didn't want to invest cash into it and all that kind of thing, and throw myself into it. And I probably didn't even give it a chance to show me what it was, even though he was doing his best to explain. But we were talking about other things as well, and that so. And I was big in on Sora at that point. And then I think it was that Sora started to change its direction. I think we're allowed to mention Sora on here, right? It changed its direction a little bit, and I thought that, what, I'm going to give it a go. Really, I'm just going to give it a go. And literally within hours, it just clicked. And I was like,
cool.
What is going on? This is literally my game. Did somebody make this game for me? This is my game. I've always been a Football Manager fan since the beginning of Champ Manager, since the first ever Champ Manager, since like doing all-nighters in my mum and dad's bedroom on their computer, when I meant to go to school, and it's like, stop tapping that keyboard so loud. You know what I mean? Like all that kind of thing. Looking at just like the words going across the screen. And it just ticked all my boxes, really. So I decided, conscious effort, so in the first season, he helped me a lot, gave me lots of players, loaned me loads of players for that first season, and that kind of thing. So I had a lot of players from him, really. He was a top guy. Like,
we love McBride.
No rev share on it or whatever. I mean, so kind of like mates rates, if you like, really good mates rates. So I decided to mostly sell up on Sora in the end, and then invest in MFL. And the only thing I kept on Sora was my MLS cards, which I still have, and like my Nashville cards and stuff. But they're changing again now with what they do with the MLS comp and stuff like that. So now I'm in a bit of a, do I fully transition out of it and lose them as well? I don't know, but that's not for here. But then, so that's sort of like started out. And then at the beginning as well, I obviously mentioned I did all my homework, watched all Calver's videos, all Quinny's videos, the white paper inside out.
Good man. The Bible.
In the white paper, which is, invaluable. Then I discovered WenDirk. And you probably remember I listened to absolutely loads of it.
Yeah, you downloaded a bunch, and you were like, and I was like, I love this from you.
Yeah. And I literally listened to them all. I think I had 2 left by the time I came home to be caught up. I went back quite far.
Yeah, you went back far.
Far, yeah, because I'm going to listen to music or podcasts, and I was so into the game.
Yeah,
I may as well
consume as much as you can.
About.
Yeah,
and learn a lot about you guys, and I mean you guys by the community, basically. So I did all that, and then things have just been booming since then, really. I think like I said earlier in the pod, I joked about even at the early days coming on WenDirk. At that point, I had no idea that a pod would ever be in my life. I thought that I would just try and like push in on you and Calver and become like a mainstay guest every month or something. Do you know what I mean? Like something, because I just felt so passionate about it. And you said that earlier as well. So, but yeah, come all the way forward. We're now like recording our 10th episode of Yorkshire Tea XP later today after this. And here I am sat with you now, and it's just like, yeah, so it's like sometimes pinch me. I know I am literally passionate about the community.
That's what
that's my journey.
That's at the beginning. Like you, from listening to your pod, Yorkshire Tea XP, which I imagine everyone listening to this has listened to. Please, folks, if you've not tuned into Yorkshire Tea XP, I'll leave all the links to find the socials, the YouTube, the Spotify, all that sort of stuff. It's Mr. RootCoors, Big Mr. K, and Bruce Lee. They're now coming up with their 10th episode. A phenomenal job. Got some really, really unique takes on MFL and segments. The tactics corner is an unbelievable piece where every week they pick a new tactic and they run it and they give their thoughts, which if you're someone who needs that sort of refresher and a different look on tactics, it can be the place to go to. And I'm looking forward to this week, the 3-5-2B, hearing some of your takes on there, looking maybe what I can incorporate into my setup to tweak things and make my season a little bit better. But yeah, I said right at the beginning that you're one of the most passionate users of NFL at the moment. And I think it clearly shows from all the social media stuff you do to the pod, the engagement you've got with the community. It's great to hear you've sort of you have gone in feet first and just absolutely fucking dive bombed into MFL basically. You weren't like, you just had a little bit of dab at the start and went, I'm straight in. And we love McBride as well. It's kind of sad that he's sort of backed away from it a bit, but hopefully he does come back in the future. I know when the season starts out for Europe, it's sort of a lot of players transition over, maybe come back, maybe sort of like February, April time.
He will be back.
I think he said he will come back. I think maybe like February, March time when sort of SORES seems to sort of get a bit quieter towards the end of the European season. We see some of them transition and come back. But great stories to how you found MFL. A big thank you for going back through all those episodes of WenDirk, by the way.
No, I enjoyed it.
I've got a question about how your season 9 has been so far, and you kind of alluded to it earlier in your moment of the week and how previous weeks have been. But is there anything more you want to expand on how your season 9 has been?
Yeah, just a couple of things. So, I think we touched on it earlier, so we don't need to touch on it too much. But yeah, I think it's going well. Dockside should be going up. Champions is the plan. That's the plan for them. They're predicted champions as well. So if they don't go up as champions, then again, I failed. But I don't think I will. And then Rum Lads have just clicked out of nowhere. I mean, every time I ever talk about them on our pod, or I did a few live streams of my own as well, just trying to see how that felt and went. And I enjoyed it, but it just didn't ever click. And I don't know if I think it's partly me just getting used to tactics and players and getting to know my players as well. And they are our players, right? So it just started to click, and they are literally doing better than I imagined, which, like I said, might just give me a headache. And I think this season's gone really well for me because I don't want to sound bullish about it, but I've really nailed the 18-man rotation. The 4-1-2-1-2 narrow is clicking, and I've not drastically changed it from the first season I've ran it. It's a formation I've always wanted to use.
Yeah, you've always used it.
You've just tweaked it here and there. Yeah, I've always used it. I've always used it in Football Manager. It's just the way I am. I'm a bit of a stickler for things like that. And it's all clicking and working really well. So, the things are, and then it still depends how that goes as well. So into next season, I guess, I just have to tweak the Rum Lads if they do go up. Like I'm going to need rares.
Yeah,
it's real difficult for me because I know I just said I loaned like a load of players from McBride at the beginning. I like to own my players.
Oh, it's a nice feeling, isn't it?
But it's not always that easy as you start going up, and I'm kind of realizing that. So the guys are like trying to help me in our Discord. By the guys, I mean obviously Mr. K and Bruce, to go like, loaning is a big part of it. It's not a problem to loan. You don't have to own every player in your club and get used to it. And I'm like, I get it, but it's a bit of a learning curve for me, that. So we'll see how
it's definitely a bit of a hill to get over. Is like, I will have to give up rewards, and once you do it for your first couple of seasons, and I've experienced in like bronze, I give out about 30% each season or so, and I'm perfectly comfortable with that, and I've just adapted to how that is my season, and it pushes me to go, right, if I want to earn more, I have to push myself in the cup. I have to push myself more to get those higher rewards. And I know that's, I always quote this bloody Witwicky motto from Transformers: no sacrifice, no victory. You've got to give up something sometimes to help yourself and put yourself in a better position.
Yeah, that's fair.
So what are your goals then? Is it getting as high up the pyramid as possible, that means allow, or is it progressing players? Is there any focus? Is there any long-term goal for you whilst you're playing MFL?
I've probably got two part. I'm going to answer this in two parts. That's all right.
Of course.
So
No, it's not. No, it's
first,
not.
yeah, first one, first one's a bit of a cliche. Like, right, I just want to have fun with it. I just want to have fun with the game. I want to win, and I don't want to lose. And I do lose quite a lot, or I did lose quite a lot, but I just love the game.
Mhm.
So just longevity is what I really want to do. I've invested heavily in young players. Most of my age are like 24 under, so that sets me up nicely for like the future. Again, if Rum lads go up, I could play the same club, and the players might progress and do it. And then again, if engines are not changed, they come back down, go up again. I'm fine with that. You know, I do need Dockside and Rum lads to switch around, like I said, but you know. And who doesn't like winning, right? We all want to win.
Oh, we all like winning.
That's what I want to do. You know, we all want to win. We all hate losing. So that's the first side. It's just like don't want to take them as far as I can. I just want to have fun with them and take them as far as that they just go, and we'll just keep giving it a shot. I'd rather stick with the players and hope they progress to take the club forward than go up a division and clear my whole squad out. I love my players. I know them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to go up into the next division and go, oh my God, I need all res. So here I need to get another 18 players I don't even know. That just doesn't fit.
Yeah. You feel like
so,
you've got to know all your players. I think I've often said ages ago, like you want to, you know the players, know their family, you know them inside out basically. And when you bring in a new boy, you're like, oh hello, how's he going to interact with the squad? You know, am I going to get to know him? Is he going to be a familiar face? But when you know your players, I can rely on him up right mid. He's good. I know him all the time. It's a nice feeling as well.
It is a nice feeling. And then second part of that just is off the pitch, actually. So that's like what I'm classing as on the pitch of MFL.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we kind of touched on this a couple of times through it, and you keep mentioning like passion and that kind of stuff.
Passion.
So off the pitch, off the pitch for me is like all about community.
Yeah. I
want to be a big part of it. You know, with the lads from Yorkshire Tea and XP. I don't just mean me, by the way. I want Yorkshire Tea and XP. I'm happy for me to be a big part of it and do things like this and do collabs with other people and all that. But I want Yorkshire Tea and XP to become a big part of the community. And we're already becoming that.
Of course you are.
Because I can't really say enough positive about the lads. And we do have a lot of banter and a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes. And Mr. K can be an absolute pain in the backside. Probably 99.9% of the time. But like, they're amazing lads. And we've just clicked so naturally together. And I've got so much time for them both. And, you know, Bruce is more of a silent person, comes in, but when he says it, you know, it's right and it makes sense. And Mr. K and I are like just continuously like all the time. So he's probably sat there going, bloody hell, guys, shut up, whatever. But I really want us as a collective to go and be involved more in the community. But certainly from a personal point of view, I want to be involved in more community stuff, ideally with them, but equally getting involved in doing things like this and helping the community move. Because as like you say, as you can tell, I love the community. I'm diving in all over the place. And if YTXP can become a mainstay like you guys, the Ramble and other content creators, I'll be super happy. And if I can look back and be recording the 114th episode of our pod like you are now, with those same two guys, right, I will be literally winning at off the pitch life when it comes to off the pitch MFL.
Well, I would say you're a big player and a big part of the community already with you as an individual, but you also as a YTXP people. I mean, I dabble in many Discords and just lurking each of them, and I think it was one of the guys, Mike, was like, honestly, your Tactics Corner is one of the best pieces of content. And I completely agree with it. It's unique. It's open about tactics, but not in the sense that you give up anything yourselves. But tactics is such a hard bit to talk about because it's so personal to an individual on the level that setups are so unique to a person's team, their players, how they play, and not every setup works the same for everyone else. But on the other hand, people don't necessarily want to give away their tactics. But you guys go into different formations and go, this is what worked for me with my set of players, and this is what I did to achieve that. And maybe you should go ahead and try this, maybe tweak it yourself. But if when listening to your pod, and I'm going to transition into it now, I think it's a great transition to go into Yorkshire Tea and XP, and I'm going to ask you how it all came about. But and you say like how good are lads Bruce and Big Mr. K are, and you can clearly see that cohesion and relationship that you three have because you've only been recording, about to record your 10th episode in what is probably about 20 minutes time, 15 minutes time.
20 minutes time.
But you would get the impression that you guys know each other for a couple years beforehand because of that. Because let's call it just easy to say, because of that banter between you and how
Yeah.
you guys bounce off each other. So, you know, if you all stick it out, which no doubt you will, you'll be here for 114 episodes, mate.
Yeah. Let's do
So,
it.
but yeah, let's talk about that then. Like, how did it all come about? I guess you said you want to be part of the community a bit more, and I guess this is sort of one step
Yeah.
to getting in that direction. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll talk about it because I know we've done a few stories about how YTXP came together, but I'll give it for those that don't know, and then a little bit of personal twist in there as well, because I think that's what's important as well. So yeah, Mr. K, I think, had been doing content for quite a while, and I'd seen a chunk of his stuff on YouTube. I'd gone in his comments, replying his comments. I thought he did amazing stuff. Right, I absolutely love how his mind works. He's a super
Oh
interesting
yeah.
guy, super interesting, and he's always posted on X and stuff like that. And I think he posted out about doing some collab work, and I think a few people must have reached out to him, myself, Bruce, and I don't know if there's any others. But anyway, long story short, I literally off the bat jumped in the conversation with him. I think on X, like, I'll do it. I'm interested in doing it, but it's audio only, mate. Audio only. I'm not doing any face. I'm not getting my face out there. And he's like, okay, right. That's a bit bold statement off the bat. Like, hi, nice to meet you, kind of thing. It's like, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm a super private person. Like, RootCoors, everyone knows RootCoors. It's just a circle with the word root in it. That is it. I don't have any personal stuff anywhere. And he was like, no, that's fine. Actually, he said, I just want to do something with somebody else, one other person, two other people, whatever. And I'm fine with doing that. So anyway, then we end up with a Discord created, and we've that we just had whatever random Discord title with Bruce in it, and we started talking and that kind of stuff, and realized that we're all from Yorkshire. I was like, so I renamed our chat to Yorkshire MFL, and it was like, right, okay, how are we going to do this? And it literally expedited really quick. This isn't like over weeks. I'm talking days. It's like, well,
Oh
when
wow.
can we record?
Yeah.
Can we record on this day? Bang, bang, bang. It's like, okay, yeah, pick today. Like, we need a title. So I was like, as you do know, I was like, this name, like 100 names. Hardly any responses. Not really
Yeah. I
anybody
remember you
bothering,
saying
because
this.
it's like,
Yeah.
just kind of like, just pick it. So I was like, right. And then just stumbled on Yorkshire Tea and XP, so, play on it, progression, and it fit perfectly. So literally went to my best mate ChatGPT at that point, asked him to like bosh me out a logo. Went for about 1 million logos with them to try and say what I wanted. I told it what I kind of needed, and kind of got with ChatGPT, and it kind of came about from that. And then from there, we talked through structure, and that's where the lads were absolutely brilliant. I mean, they brought loads of ideas, and before we had a recording plan. We all came up with the structure and ideas of the structure. I just think I put it into Google or whatever, or gave the agenda that we kind of got, and it's evolved over time. And we just sort of like, and then I still had every intention of going audio only. We found out about Riverside, came on Riverside, and then it's like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go 5-second countdown. Mr. K's like, we're going for it. And he's like, don't worry, it's fine. I'm like, yeah, but mate, camera. He's like, yeah, it's fine. I was like, what? Like, you joking me? And I was proper nervous. Like, I've never done anything like that before. So out of my comfort zone, massively. Like, I'm a confident person, but I've never done it online.
But it doesn't come across that you're nervous at all in anything that you do.
No, I think that's, again, the good beauty of doing it with two other people, because you help each other out. And like, I think if you went back and reflect on the first few episodes now, I'm like a lot more quieter. And now I kind of like have to stop myself taking over at times, because I know I can do that. Because like you say, in my real life and my real job and my real world, I'm a very confident person, and I'm very out there, and like, I love people anyway generally, but I have to like remember, like, right, don't say anything, let them, we're having a conversation, but you don't need to jump in all the time.
Yeah.
And I consciously like getting better at it, but again, because we all got on with each other, nobody actually goes shut up to each other. Like, it just happens. But like you said at the beginning, like, if you want to say something, just jump in, and like, it just starts to flow, doesn't it? So now I don't consciously think about it. I just say it when I need to and when I don't need to. But yeah, somehow literally it's worked, and the chemistry and everything's there, and we are where we are now, basically.
Yeah. Superb stuff. Like I said, folks, if you've not listened to it, please, all the links down below. Go follow them on Twitter. Go join their Discord. Go sub to the YouTube channel. Go follow them wherever you get your podcasts and things from. It's great content. And, you upload on a Tuesday as well, which is a MFL contentless day until you guys are uploading. So you thought about that. So, WenDirk on the Monday, YTXP on the Tuesday, Ramble on the Wednesday, you get the whole start of your week sorted out.
It's amazing.
Sorted out. I think it's great.
And you go live quite a lot on a Thursday.
Yeah, quite a bit on Thursday as well.
So, so before you know it.
Yeah. No, exactly.
And I think that's great. I think it's brilliant.
And people love it. Like, they get into the routine of, people say, like, Tuesday morning, they'll tune into the WenDirk on their drive, and then they'll say Wednesday morning, they'll tune into yours, and then Wednesday to tune to the streams. Yeah, it all fun. I love MFL content. I love tuning into any piece that comes out there. Right, we've got a couple last questions. Let's just fly through these. If you were MFL CEO for a day, what would you do and prioritize? I always find this one quite funny. Just like to see the answers.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So it's a tough one. Obviously, I think Matt and the team does an amazing job. But yeah, if Matt, ever needs a deputy or wants to plan for a successor, he can just hit me up in a DM and I'll start my journey towards becoming the CEO. That's fine. That's my first call out there. But seriously, on a serious note, I'd probably look how I could bring the community tools, like you mentioned the Alexis one. There's like MFL data out there and like MFL player info and so many others. Like I'm not going to be able to list them all with the time we've got, but I'd like to see bringing more of those community tools into the game. Like the player comparisons, the league predictions, the analytics, the planning tools, but only in a way that looks after the creators. So I wouldn't want MFL to build it and the creators become
redundant,
not required or redundant. And so I'm not saying it even has to come into the platform. It's about integration. So if I was there for a day, it'd be all about how the community tools can become a mainstay, if you like, which I've used that earlier in something else, for everybody, because it's a talented community. And I think there's some interesting ideas out there and some interesting people behind them all. So yeah, something around innovation and community and bringing it all together, I think would be really, really good. That's what I would do on that day. I'd get everybody on like a big teams meeting. How can we bring your tools in? How can we integrate? How can we get you more traffic? How can you help the MFL community have more things and so on?
Yeah, I love that. That's a superb
Matt, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Suddenly next week we'll start seeing all these being integrated in. Anything is possible, as Yak said.
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is.
So our final question for you, until you suggest a question, is our question from our last guest, or guests in this case, because it was Palmer Snake and Zumi Zuta. He said, if you could pick anyone in the MFL community to have their own emoji, who would it be? What would the emoji be, and why? So we know that Quinton has a little Quinton beans. You got Yaks with the Yaks bomb. I'm not sure it's MFL official yet, but obviously Bastiste has his own little emoji. Palmer's got, the Palmer light bulb. Who would you like to see have their own emoji?
I'm going to go with Kev Hurd.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know exactly what the emoji would look like. Probably maybe something like he's got a little notebook and he's sketching out some tactics on a notebook or something as an emoji. So like him and a tactic or whatever, which I think fits. And it's a weird one. Kev's one of those people in the community. From the moment I saw him typing, not even as a person, because I hadn't seen him on Ramble at that point, he's just such a lovely person. His positivity he brings, his tactical brain, he's just class. And he lifts everyone around him as well. So everyone around him, you lift in a better mood. If I watch the Ramble and he's on, or I'm in a conversation, or even when I did some of my own live streams, he dives in, he just makes you instantly feel better. So I think he deserves an emoji. And he is Mr. Tactics. I called him that on the pod that I couldn't attend, where he attended with the other two boys. I think he's Mr. Tactics. I don't think the match engine can ever throw anything out that he can't turn it around at some point and make it work. So yeah, some emoji, Tactics, little board or a little notepad where he's writing on it. So yeah, Kev, Mr.
I love that. Yeah, he's a great guy. I completely agree. He oozes like passion and positivity in any sort of MFL community or discussion that he's in. So top man. I agree. Maybe a little Tactics Kev sort of emoji out there. Yeah. What we always ask of our guests is to them to suggest and ask a question for our next guest. Obviously, you don't know who that is. I know who it is. Hopefully it's someone that's not been on a piece of FL content before as well. So hopefully it all goes through. What would you like to ask this next guest?
Okay, so mine's not as fun as the last one, I'm afraid. The last one's a super fun question. So mine's kind of like, it's one question, but there's two bits to it because I don't know which bit's the question. I can't figure it out myself, but I have noted this down. So if you could add another formation to MFL tactic list, what would it be and why?
Mm-hmm.
Or, because I don't know which one, is there one tactic that's there already that you think should have its roles tweaked? And what would you change with that and why? And because it's a big extensive list, right? So like that's why the question's there. So in one that's got centre forwards, would you rather their cams and why? Or if one that's got so on, or would you just add a new one to the list? Is there one that you think's missing, basically?
Ooh.
So you can have
Yeah,
you can bridge that
either
question
or,
however
they
you
can
want it
answer
to sound.
both. Yeah.
You nail that.
Yeah,
You nail
I
that.
think that's a great question. I know there's definitely formations out there that people either want or that they want it because they want it to be an adaptation of one that already exists. And they're basically saying, Bosh, which would you like? So, thank you very much for that, Root. We are going to start to round things up. Hashtag of the week. It's going to be hashtag new season, same engine that we're going to roll for. So if you got this far and you're an hour and 45 minutes in, you're a legend. But post on all the socials, the Discords, hashtag new season, same engine. Mr. RootCoors, you've got a couple minutes before you've got to jump into the YTXP studio.
Yeah, I've let the lads know we'll be about 5 minutes late starting anyway. And you can imagine the messages I've had back have been nothing but positivity.
Oh, nothing positivity.
Obviously.
Yeah. They're so happy that you're on here and you're about to join them and all the schedules and all the logistics, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But genuinely, mate, it's been great to have you on. Thank you for being here, mate. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah. No, thank you, Jimbo. Thanks for having me on. I've absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's back to the thing. Highlight of the season. We may have just gone from an 8 to a 10 by coming.
Oh, don't say that, mate. Love that from you. But all the work that you're doing in the community with the YTXP and all the pods and all the episodes, keep it up. They're amazing. All the links to everything will be down in the description, show notes, whatever you call it, from whatever platform you tune into this on.
Yeah.
Go check them out every Tuesday, 6 p.m. UK, I believe, is when you release them as well. So that will be, if you listen to this now, go listen to YTXP on the Tuesday, then the ramble on the Wednesday, and all the other great content creators we have within MFL. So hashtag new season, same engine. Thank you all so very much for listening, and we'll catch you this time next week. So the WenDirkCast. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.